Welcome to the Movie Spoiler Club, the channel where you can watch movie, television, and streaming series within minutes. Today we're going to spoil the movie Guardians of the Galaxy 2014. This movie story plot is about brash space adventurer Peter Quill. Chris Pratt finds himself the quarry of relentless bounty hunters after he steals an orb coveted by Ronan, a powerful villain. To evade Ronan, Quill is forced into an uneasy truce with four disparate misfits: gun-toting Rocket Raccoon, tree-like humanoid Groot, enigmatic Gamora, and vengeance-driven Drax the Destroyer. But when he discovers the orb's true power and the cosmic threat it poses, Quill must rally his ragtag group to save the universe. The movie starts with on the screen saying Earth in the year 1988. We see Peter Quill, a child, listening to a mixtape on his Walkman while waiting in a hospital. He's interrupted by his grandpa, who approaches him and says that his mother wants to see him. He's taken to his mom's bed, who's dying of cancer. His mother gives him a present and tells him that he's so much like his father, and his father was an angel. She asks Peter to take her hand, but he's too scared to take it. Just then his mother passes away, and his grandpa takes Peter away from the hospital room, asking him to wait there. Shattered Peter runs out of the hospital and gets abducted by a spaceship, followed by the Marvel introduction. Then after 26 years later on planet Morag, we see an adult Peter Quill searching for a mysterious orb while listening to the same mixtape we saw in the opening. Suited up with a metal mask, he walks dancing to the song, and he finally finds the orb inside a chamber. As soon as he takes the orb out of the laser case, he's confronted by a group of Kree soldiers. In the meeting for the identification, Quill reveals that he's also known as the Star-Lord. After a shootout, Quill manages to escape to his ship using the gadgets in his suit. On the ship, he receives a call from Yondu, the leader of a group named Ravagers, who picked Quill up when he was a child. Yondu tells Quill to give him the orb, but Quill refuses and decides to sell it on his own. Yondu gets furious and sets a bounty of 40,000 units for the capture of Quill. Next, we see Ronan, who's also called as the Accuser in the Dark Aster, a Kree warship. There he executes a prisoner from Xandar, telling him that he's going to destroy their planet. Afterwards, a Kree officer comes in and reports that he failed in getting the orb, and now it's in the hands of Quill. Ronan wants the orb to give it to Thanos, and in exchange, Thanos will destroy Xandar. Therefore, Ronan orders Nebula to go and retrieve the orb for him, but her sister Gamora volunteers for the task, claiming to know Xandar better. Next scene takes us to the beautiful world of Xandar, and we see Quill taking the orb to the broker whom Yondu was supposed to meet to sell it. Quill asks the broker what it is since some other people are after it, but as soon as the broker heard that Ronan is after the orb too, he refuses to make the deal and kicks Peter out of the store. Outside at the door, Quill sees Gamora, who grabs the orb from Quill's hands and tries to run away. Nearby, a raccoon named Rocket and his humanoid plant partner, Groot, read that there's a bounty on Quill and they set out to capture him. The three parties collide with each other but soon get arrested by Nova Corps, the military force of Xandar. After getting information on them, they are imprisoned in Kelm, a high-security prison. While they are being escorted to the prison, the chit-chat between them reveals things about each other. Gamora says that she was not retrieving the orb for Ronan, but she was hoping to sell to a third party herself to betray Ronan. Rocket reveals that he'll escape this prison too, like the previous 22 prisons he escaped, and it's discovered that there are only 3 words in Groot's vocabulary: I'm Groot, exclusively in that order. In the prison, the other prisoners threaten Gamora's life since they know that she's connected with Thanos and Ronan, who brought misery to most of their lives. At night, Quill and Rocket hears a quarrel and see that Gamora is being taken by other prisoners to kill her, and they follow up. When the prisoners set out to kill her, they are interrupted by another giant prisoner named Drax the Destroyer. Drax tells that since Ronan killed his family, he should be the one who executes Gamora and attempts to kill her. But Quill comes in there and explains Drax that if killing Ronan is his sole purpose, he better let Gamora alive, since now that she's betrayed Ronan, he'll be coming for her soon. Drax accepts and lets Gamora go. In the Dark Aster, Ronan receives information that Gamora has betrayed him. He goes to meet Thanos and blames him for not telling about Gamora's plans for betrayal sooner. Thanos neglects Ronan's complaints and says that if Ronan comes empty-handed again, he would bathe the stairways in his blood. Quill, Rocket, Groot, Gamora, and Drax escape the kill by removing the artificial gravity of the station according to a plan of Rocket. Just after, Ronan and Nebula land on the kiln with their Kree forces, only to find out that the group has escaped the prison. The group fly out to nowhere to meet the buyer of Gamora, who had offered her 4 billion units for the orb. While they are waiting for the buyer, Gamora tells Quill about her story, how her parents were killed in front of her and then Thanos tortured her and made her into a weapon. And then Quill tells about his memories, leading to almost a romance between them. But it gets interrupted by the sound of chaos outside. Rocket and Groot are fighting against Drax over a drunk argument, but Quill went there and makes peace, reminding them that they'll be rich soon. The buyer of Gamora, the collector named Titular Tivin, meets them to buy the orb. They hand it over to Tivin at his museum, who opens up the casing of the orb to discover that it's an Infinity Stone, an element of infinite power that's capable of destroying everything except the most powerful people who wield it. Seeing this, Karina, Tivin's servant, grabs the stone in the purpose of freeing herself up, but a massive energy force comes from the orb, killing Karina and blowing up Tivin's museum. The group barely manages to get out alive. Now having an idea about the dangerous potential of the orb, Gamora suggests that it's best to hand it over to the Nova Corps. While they argue what to do with the orb, they see Ronan arriving on nowhere as a result of a message sent by drunken Drax. Drax goes to fight with Ronan while others try to escape the premises, but they are pursued by Ronan's minions led by Nebula. Ronan easily defeats Drax, and Nebula destroys Gamora's pod and takes the orb, leaving Gamora floating in space to slow death. Quill decides to risk his life to save Gamora's. He attaches his metal mask to Gamora's face and leaves a message to Yondu to come and get him. Yondu's Ravager ship arrives just in time to save both Quill and Gamora. Rocket sees Quill giving himself up to Yondu, and goes back to nowhere to team up with Groot and Drax to save Gamora and Quill from the Ravagers. Meanwhile in the Dark Aster, Ronan calls Thanos with the orb he retrieved, but now knowing that it's an Infinity Stone, Ronan decides to use it himself to destroy Xandar and threats Thanos that he'll be coming after him then. As Thanos disconnects the call, on Ravager ship, Yondu sets to kill Quill for his treason, but Quill manages to convince him to a deal of working together to steal the orb back from Ronan. Just the moment, they receive an announcement from Rocket, armed and ready to attack with Groot and Drax, threatening to attack the Ravager ship. Quill quickly grabs a microphone and tells them that they're fine, and then the group reunites back in the Milano Quill's ship to discuss the situation. On Milano, Quill tells the group that he has a plan to stop Ronan from destroying Xandar, but others have doubts, saying that he's asking them to die. Slowly each of them begins to join with Quill in the mission of fighting against Ronan. Quill sends a message to Nova Corps, warning them that Ronan is coming to destroy their planet, and so they should get ready to face the attack. According to a plan they discussed, they ally with Nova Corps and Ravagers to confront the Dark Aster. While Rocket assists the Nova Corps militants, others breach into Ronan's ship. Gamora engages in a battle with Nebula, leaving Quill, Drax and Groot to face the Kree soldiers. Gamora defeats Nebula, pushing her to the edge of the ship, and asks Nebula to join her to kill Ronan. Nebula refuses and flees away from the battle, saying that Gamora is insane. As the battle proceeds, Yondu gets thrown into the ground surrounded by Kree soldiers, but he kills them all using his needle weapon. Quill and the team confront Ronan, but Ronan defeats them with the power that his weapon absorbed from the Infinity Stone. Just when he was going to kill them, Rocket comes onto him charging in his ship, seemingly killing Ronan. Realizing that the damaged Dark Aster ship is going to crash land onto Xandar, Groot grows himself up to create a strong shield around them with plants. Rocket begs him not to do it because it will cause the death of Groot, but Groot proceeds making the shield, saying "We are Groot," thanks to Groot who sacrificed his life. Quill and the rest of the team survives the crash. Their joy is shortly ended when they see Ronan getting up alive and comes into the open area, leaving fear on the faces of Xandar people. Ronan derides the effort of Quill's team, calling them as Guardians of the Galaxy, and prepares to destroy Xandar. Suddenly Quill starts to sing and dance for a song in his tape, confusing Ronan. It distracts Ronan from Rocket and Drax, who shoot Ronan from a weapon they just assembled. They hit the weapon of Ronan, leading it to break and release the Infinity Stone. As Quill grabs the stone, it begins to consume him, but only until he's joined with Gamora, Drax and Rocket, who come to share Quill's burden. This effort makes them extremely powerful as a group so that they gain control over the stone. Then they direct the stone's power towards Ronan, killing him. As the show ends, Yondu arrives in the area and asks Quill for the orb. Quill takes it from Gamora, who placed the stone in an enclosed casing and gives it to Yondu as the agreement. As Yondu turns to leave, Quill reminds him not to open the orb since it brings danger to the people who open it. Yondu smiles and takes the orb with him to the Ravager ship. After he departs, Quill takes out the orb from his pocket, revealing that he had switched it with a fake one to give to Yondu. We see that Yondu opens up the orb later in his ship to find a troll toy inside it. In the aftermath, we see they're discussing with Nova Corps, and now all their previous records have been eliminated. Nova Corps give them a modified version of the Milano, Quill's damaged ship, as a thank you for their service to save Xandar. We see Peter Quill opening up the present that his mom gave him at the hospital when he was young, the Volume 2 of the awesome mixtape. Then they get in the ship all together to seek on more adventures as the Guardians of the Galaxy, also accompanied by a baby Groot, who's regrowing with a twig that Rocket found at the ruins of Groot. During the mid-credit scene, we see Tiny Groot dancing to the music from Quill's mixtape, with Drax working in the background. In the end credit scene, we see the collector Tivin sitting in the wreckage of his museum. A specimen dog among his exhibits comes and licks him, followed by a voice that says it's gross. Then the camera directs to the figure of Howard the Duck, who's drinking as well. Movie trivia. Do you know that when Dave Bautista found out he got the role of Drax the Destroyer, he broke down in tears, overjoyed at getting a Marvel comic book role. He prepared himself hard for the role with an acting coach. This movie gets the movie rating of 8.0 from IMDb, Tomatometer rating of 91 and audience score of 92 from Rotten Tomatoes. Thank you for watching, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, share your thoughts in the comment section, and hit the notification bell for the new movie spoiler video every week.